Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I say back because it's been some time since the UMG events. Twitch has been uploading and kind of course, live streaming as well. It's our first tournament back. We are live in our new UMG studio, of course, along with a number of different awesome perks. And looks off the break, we're seeing a nice three-piece actually coming from Johnny and Co. As kind of speaking about the new kind of setup that we got going here. Very excited to, of course, be broadcasting you guys tournaments just like this one tonight. Of course, our $300 minimum 4v4 variant, of course, taking place here on February 15th. It's myself, Landon Lando Sanders, as always, bringing you guys the continued coverage here for multiple tournaments, as well as the one for tonight. But it looks like we're actually be hopping into our current tournament in the quarterfinals, taking place between GGEA Blue and the team known as I Love Unicorns. So if that tells you anything, it just goes to show that the creativity of the team names has not slipped. If you're familiar with our old I say old as if it's been like a long time, but if you're familiar with our prior broadcasts, you know that the team names here on UMG are ever exciting. They always are more and more creative, and I'm just going to toss up the I Love Unicorn name to the top 10 list. I think it's fair to say it's pretty clever, so very happy to hear, obviously, that. But when it kind of comes down to both these squads, if you aren't really familiar with the 8 players that are kind of loading up into this lobby here for Map 1 on Arden Forest, basically GGEA Blue is a team that's obviously competed in the, kind of open bracket. A lot of these guys have been kind of known throughout their Call of Duty career as kind of making their way through the open bracket, maybe getting into pools and whatnot, kind of being the top-level semi-pro players. And generally, though, this group, I believe, ended up finishing in last place, in 8th position in the U.S. National Circuit. So, of course, do have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And I believe that they're actually playing with, I want to say, it's not official by any means. I'm not exactly sure the exact details. I might actually go in, once we have a commercial break, maybe DM Johnny and ask him what the kind of change is about. But normally, Envader isn't actually on this group. It's actually Fastball, who is the most notable fourth when it comes down to this team. I'm not sure if it was a decision that they made after the U.S. National Circuit, or if it's just a fill-in for tonight. They went under the name of GGEA Blue, so obviously take it the way that you like. I'm just going to assume that, hey, they're just playing with him. They're just playing with Envader for a little bit of time, and we'll see. Obviously, that does play off. And one thing that does kind of strike me, though, continuing to talk about the guys on GGEA Blue, is the kind of history with both Envader and Stamino, because both these guys have played with each other through a lot of their careers. I think they've even gotten in their bios on Twitter how they're like duos and whatnot. As SupremeAgility just happens to literally destroy GodMunks and the entire enemy team, as right now we see a 10-team kill streak, as that is absolutely brutal. Now make it 11. Getting away from just talking about the team to just talk about the overall dominance that they're showing right now. 11-team streak, and it could be stacking back up. It's back up to 9. They've got full streaks. They've got everybody who's playing incredibly solid right now. You see 11-8, 12-3, 11-5 from SupremeAgility. Him and Johnny doing the damage when it comes down to the slang and in quick numbers. But getting back, though, to kind of talk about the chemistry that this lineup does have for tonight, whether or not, of course, the lineup does continue on, as Johnny, yet again, finds another three-piece. And kind of speaking on such, he's on a 9 spree. So I think it's only fair that, yet again, I send myself to a pause and begin to talk about the dominance that the guys on GGEA Blue are showing right now as three-piece after three-piece, making a 13-team kill streak, 14-team kill streak. Can they make it 15? They will not. But still, Johnny, 10 kills in a row, 11 kills in a row, 12 kills in a row. Johnny is absolutely exploding right now. He's literally about to double up on, maybe even triple up on streaks. Has that ever been done? I don't think it has. He's got a fighter pilot, wants to add to the total. There is 13, literally 19-3 right now. This man is just on another level. As here comes the glide bomb for good measure. And quite literally, good night to GodMunks. And we're not even past like the first set. We just entered into the second set of rotations. And Johnny is just dominating them right now. Say hello to my third set of streaks. As this is just unreal. I mean, I'm literally waiting till he dies. So ends at 15 kills. 15 kills in a row. That's a way to start off a tournament. That's a way to start off a series as well. Just unreal play coming in from the guys on GGEA Blue. I can finally start to kind of discuss what I was trying to bring up earlier, was the factor, of course, of adding Envader for tonight. They do have that kind of prior chemistry between him and Stamino, who have previously played on a lineup known as Extrovert. For those who remember that team, was a pretty big fan of that group. I thought they had some real potential, and those are kind of where both these guys kind of made a name for themselves. As I believe the kind of what set them apart was, I think it was Invader or someone kind of leaving the team. I think it was Pander, actually, who ended up leaving that group and ended up playing for LG. I want to say that was like an ESWC or GFN. I want to say it was ESWC because Saints couldn't travel, and that kind of ended up splitting the entire team apart for the most part. But glad to see them at least back for tonight's tournament, and it seems to be working out very well when you've got a guy like Johnny, 23-6, literally went on a 15-kill streak. I mean, that is unreal. And speaking about Johnny, he's continuing on the dominance, taking players off spawn. And that was one thing that I was worried about when it kind of comes down to a series like this. And I picked this series for a reason, because I was curious. When we talk about the guys on I Love Unicorns, right? We know about their search and destroy. This is a team, when you kind of look at this overall group, you look at Monks, DillyDilly, imBxdied, Intechs. All four of these guys I've kind of heard over the World War II season, especially being both GodMunks and DillyDilly. I've been able to watch these guys quite a bit. And they're so strong at search and destroy. I want to say it was that they were playing in like a 3v3 tournament. I can't remember exactly what tournament it was, but they were playing against like Simp, and I think it was like a few others. I can't remember the exact lineup and whatnot. But I was very surprised because I'd never heard of these guys whatsoever. And they were on like a 5-1 streak on R4 search and destroy. Came into the second map, I think it was on USS Texas. Did the exact same thing. Went up 5-1. Sadly, they ended up losing, actually choking both on back-to-back games. But still, these guys are very talented when it comes down to the search and destroy game mode. So while I wasn't expecting to see them have a very strong performance in the search and destroy, or excuse me, in the hard point, you got to be very wary of the S&D, though, when it comes down to this group. It's really just a matter of, if you're on the side of GGEA Blue, you want to, basically what they're doing right now, just demolish them, which is what Stamino is doing from the skies right now, trying to compete with his teammate Johnny for who can get the most kills in a row. It's really all about what this map is right now, is who can kind of stack the numbers the highest. As a Stamino streak starting to touch the ceiling right now. 8 kills in a row, 9 kills in a row. This is just sad. Like this is absolute destruction. So very surprised, of course, to see the run that we're seeing right now. 100-point lead. I think what is this, the second set of rotations? I'm not even. I think it's just the second set of rotations, and they're nearly at 200 seconds, and we've just got to East Road. And so with that in mind, as the kind of kills come in to quick succession, you know, while a lot of people would start to kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, the guys on I Love Unicorns, it's really difficult to kind of say that team name. You kind of really hate on them a lot and whatnot, but I do applaud them for playing in a respawn tournament. I'm not sure if they play in this game mode quite often or not, but I've seen them primarily in search and destroy tournaments. But this could be a group, and this is where a lot of players kind of in their careers, once they've played search and destroy for such a long time, maybe they start to become of age, or maybe these guys are of the age of 18. You start to test your hands. You start to test your wits when it comes down to the respawn game. I know Simp and the kind of EU cadets, all of them are under the age of 18. They're kind of getting closer and closer. It's kind of reaching that margin, but they're still playing in respawn tournaments just to kind of get used to it, to kind of see what it's like. And I got to applaud them. You know, regardless of a major loss here in Map 1, they might grab the 100 seconds in total, but still, we'll see what they can do when it comes down to the S&D. Because that's when you're talking about communication, when you're talking about the overall mentality of a group right now. You know, SupremeAgility and Co. are just wrecking from long ranges with the bar and a number of different weapons right now. That's really what your mentality has to be. It really has to be, okay, let's focus on the search and destroy. Let's focus on our bread and butter. We're not supposed to win this game mode, so let's kind of get that out of our heads and kind of lower it in here for what should be a interesting St. Marie Dumas search and destroy. As much how this game started, it ends with Johnny literally being on fire. 34-11, went on a 15-kill spree. Be still my beating heart, Johnny. In the final kill cam, saying, here I am. And there you go. Goodbye, Bodied. We'll see you later, pal. STG-44 coming out to play. Not surprised that we see the weapons like that kind of come in for the most part. But as the kind of final scorecard will begin to reveal itself, we obviously see it was 100 points, or 103 points, technically grabbed for the guys on I Love Unicorns. When we talk about the score totals, we talk about the streaks that went on throughout this game. I got to say, I'm pretty impressed that they actually put up 103 seconds in total. That was, to me, a pretty impressive scoreline when it kind of comes down to the overall landscape of this series. But now, kind of loading in here for map number 2. Of course, it will be on St. Marie Dumas Search and Destroy. Could play a little bit differently, right? Because we talk about both these teams are kind of in their struggles for the moment, right? We talk about GGEA Blue, their issues in the U.S. National Circuit, finishing in last place. Maybe the issues came in Search and Destroy. Of course, you know, it obviously remains to be seen. I don't believe any of those guys really streamed consistently when it came down to their matches and whatnot. But, you know, like I said, both these teams have kind of come from struggles. What is GGEA Blue's, you know, issues in their overall game modes? It obviously remains to be seen. Of course, we'll be able to witness all 3 of those game modes in this particular map set. Of course, a best-of-3 hardpoint search and destroy, and then if it comes down to it, a CTF. Well, back, ladies and gentlemen, to the continued coverage here for the $300 minimum 4v4 variant, of course, taking place here on February 15th. If you got to watch the map 1 of this current series, of course, in our quarterfinal taking place between GGEA Blue and I Love Unicorns. It was pretty much a spanking, to say the least. GGEA Blue, in prime fashion, destroyed when it came down to the hard point. Johnny found himself going on a 15-kill spree. I think that's the highest that we've had in our broadcasted UMG Online tournament so far throughout World War II. And I'm not sure if that record will be broken for a long time, to say the least. So with that in mind, you've got to be keeping in consideration the mentality right now for I Love Unicorns. Of course, this is their preferred game mode, but they probably don't have a whole lot of momentum heading into it. So kind of positives as well as negatives coming into this series for them, or coming into this map as far as the series for these guys. And losing early rounds like this is only going to kill what potential is possibly there. So with that, I Love Unicorns, of course, off the break of their offensive round, don't really accomplish much, to say the least. They kind of make a little bit of a push toward the B-bomb site, but nothing really gets found from it. And they wait a little bit too long. And the aggression being shown from GGEA Blue is there. And it looks like heading off the next offensive round, Johnny pulling out the sniper rifle from what I've seen from DillyDilly. He's also a guy who likes to use this weapon. I'm not sure if he actually has it in his possession, but you've got to imagine the call-up from DillyDilly probably is forward toward Intechs. He's sitting just inside of top red. But despite that, though, SupremeAgility has made it behind enemy lines. Despite DillyDilly finding the first blood, a quick trade is going to be here. However, that taking place, imBxdied dropped one shortly before, so 2v3, up close and personal fight. Intechs, takes out Stamino's life. It's a SupremeAgility making it nearly 4-0, finding himself in a 1 versus 2 fight, not able to stay alive in that position. But overall, smart play coming in from the guys on I Love Unicorns. Sorry, it's just hard to seriously kind of say that name over and over again. But GodMunks and co. able to stay alive to finally get some confidence on the board, so they've got something under their wings. As the kind of the first atrocious, really, offensive push for them was just not there. And so we'll see what they can try to produce now. Do they go toward the A-bomb site? Of course, we can still discuss the factor of having the patch not too long ago coming in to kind of move the defensive spawns forward, which allows the defensive team to have a lot easier of a time defending over on the B-bomb site, which makes it more of a factor now for the offensive team to try to progress and utilize different strats. That's what we've seen on St. Marie Dumas. A lot more players kind of swap toward the ARs, for just those long-range engagements on the A site. But it looks like right now, half the lobby has fallen. Bomb quickly gets picked up from GodMunks, and he gets ready to try to fire his weapon, and it's not going to be home. SupremeAgility continuing his dominance right now, 5-1, and is not far behind where the 6th could possibly be. Keeping in mind, though, imBxdied. This would be the ace if he could stay alive, but isn't able to do so. So back-to-back rounds kind of being quickly fought after, kind of going back into 2v2 scenarios around this kind of top red's position. As both teams yet to get that objective planted down and really struggling, to say the least, when it comes down to offense. And we've talked about St. Marie Dumont in the past. I mean, a lot of teams really prefer being on this side. And if you're not familiar with Call of Duty and Search and Destroy, normally you want to be on defense. I mean, it's kind of odd if you prefer to be on the offensive side just because of the kind of disadvantage off the start that you're placed with. As GodMunks, I believe that was a jump snipe probably, takes out 2. Intechs finding the 3rd, and quickly Envader wondering what just happened to my teammates. Before he could even think that, a sniper bullet, going through his brain. Is goodbye, Envader. And just like that, I Love Unicorns will prance their way to grabbing their 2nd round. So props to these boys, of course, for trying to get themselves back into this game. And we talk about players who have kind of started off this one hot. GodMunks doing the work necessary. I know on a few series in the past I've got to watch this guy play. Very good with the sniper rifle. I think DillyDilly actually as well. So both these guys prone to using this weapon. So off the break, just trying to grab some information. and having a lot of pressure when it comes into top red. Normally, you're not going to see a whole lot of teams force this much aggression toward mid-map. However, they're already setting up a flank, and I love that play. As GodMunks nearly takes out his teammate, what they're doing is just forming an entire strategy, an entire 4-man lineup into top red. And it seems to be working out very well for them despite that, however. Intechs not watching his back. Envader does escape with that kill. And now looking on a 2 versus 2 fight. imBxdied from the top, GodMunks from the outside. Of course, GodMunks the more important of the two. I believe he just gets a hit marker with the sniper there. Not exactly sure, but regardless, he's able to take out Envader there with the machine pistol up close. And now big man Johnny C. Johnny Tsunami, a number of different nicknames, but can he live up to the Clutch King as getting ready to come on the corner? Can he stay alive? But no, not able to do it. And this is what I really like coming out from the guys of I Love Unicorns, because like I said, we talk about them. This is their more preferred game mode, probably of the entire 3 that we're going to see. If we do see the third, of course, being CTF in map 3. With GGEA Blue being up 1-0 in this series. Question being, do we see a CTF or not? But I really like the strategy that we see from I Love Unicorns. Really force their entire kind of lineup around that top red position. They immediately send someone on the flank once they know mid street is clear. And whether or not someone dies, they are there immediately for a trade. I like that play a lot. That's them adapting quickly, but DillyDilly off the start, finding 3 quick kills. Say hello to the hat trick as he is on a run. Phenomenal play coming in from DillyDilly. He likes to replicate his name. And he wants the ace, and he's found it. A quick 4 down. And speaking of 4s, that is the 4th one found for I Love Unicorns in map 2. Phenomenal play coming in from this man. Just absolutely destroys when it came down to lookout posts, when it came down to the A-bomb site. And just absolutely wrecks the opposition there in that last round. As no 4 rounds to 2. GGEA Blue, if you're looking at the overall game plan for them, they have to get a round here. They have to get a round now. 5-2 compared to 4-3. When you're talking about best of 11s and search and destroy, of course, just round count is considered. It's just so much different to look at. It's so much more likely. But a separation like that could be deadly. Stamino ends up dropping for the first. Quickly, though, SupremeAgility able to respond. And gotta say, I'm very impressed with SupremeAgility's play, not just in the search and destroys, but even in respawns as well. As Dilly is able to get the objective down, and keeping in mind, even if he doesn't survive, the streaks are very important, and he's not able to do it. So SupremeAgility coming out to play despite kind of slow performances from both Stamino and Johnny. He's now at 10 kills, and he also just grabbed a defuse as well. So I talked about, like I said, a round, a much-needed round, probably one that they had to win. And now taking a look at that scoreboard, you're saying, okay, we're only down by 1 round. Like, we can easily be back in this one and kind of see a level playing field at 4 apiece. But when you see that scoreline of 5-2, it's just like, guys, they only need 1 more. Like, should we just focus on the CTF, or like, what do we really need to do? Like, we can't allow them to win another round. But of course, a totally different landscape, a totally different mentality. Now looking at round number 8, and really the main objective right now for GGEA Blue is just set up SupremeAgility to continue on his spree. So it looks like both teams playing fairly passive off the start. Of course, 1 kill found on imBxdied. That's big when it comes down to the objective. Both teams have kind of struggled to get that down, but I believe flank coming in from Intechs, and he's able to win it. Drops Envader, and now this is going to alarm the side of GGEA Blue. They have no one watching their flank, and they start to feel a little bit more vulnerable. 38 seconds left, and they start to body stack. Not a whole lot of pressure to make, and here comes the bait and switch situation. Stamino's able to win it, but players start to line up for DillyDilly. He finds one. Can he find the second? Not found. SupremeAgility able to drop 1. He now has streaks in his possession, but still has the objective in hand. Who's going to win this fight? A big round to win. Intechs fires some bullets, trying to dolphin dive away, and SupremeAgility firing bullets. Who's going to win this 1v1? And SupremeAgility backs out and will fall. What a 1v1 we witness here as Intechs, despite the early engagement, goes for the re-challenge, goes behind the bus just in the nick of time, the dolphin dive. didn't look as if it was good. I didn't think he could make it out of that scenario, but goes for the re-challenge, and at the one moment you start to say, SupremeAgility, here's another kill. It's just not there. Still, though, very impressive scoreline, 12-5 for this man, Supreme. As now his team finds themselves at a 3-5 deficit. We'll see how they can try to make this one back up as a quick plant going down here on B for the guys on Unicorns. But here come the streaks. Most likely for the man who's in a right to earn them, SupremeAgility. He at least gains information as it looks like 2 of the 3 players at least rocking Mountain. Intechs finds one, imBxdied finds the other. Now just like that, 1v3 for Envader with an all to do, and he's not able to complete that. So it looks like for our first series of the night, our quarterfinal matchup, we'll be seeing a map 3 for some London Dock CTF. And this one, I'm not going to lie, it's very interesting, right? Because when we talk about this entire series and the overall landscape of it, is the factor of GGEA Blue definitely have their head on straight when it comes down to the respawns. I think in everyone's opinion, viewers, even the guys in the match as well, got to be expecting, okay, if we're GGEA Blue, we're saying, okay, we're feeling pretty confident when it comes down to the respawns. We're feeling pretty good. But now we look at Search and Destroy, and it's obviously going to be a little bit of a different story. And, of course, we do have a little bit of updated graphics. Got to shout out production for this as well. If you guys can kind of witness their little key at the bottom, basically we're kind of changing things up when it comes to Search and Destroy scoreboard. It's not just X's anymore, like who won what round in quick succession. We actually have details as to what exactly happens. So the skull basically means the enemy team was eliminated. The bomb kind of icon means the bomb was destroyed. The little bomb kind of diffusing kit obviously means the bomb was diffused. And, of course, the stopwatch basically means the time limit has been reached. So when we kind of take a look at the overall kind of landscape of what this really was, it was just really a slaying battle. And, of course, we witness here for the guys on Unicorns, of course, UNIC, all the rounds that they win were just dominant. They were just strictly about kills. And that's something that really kind of brings an interest up. I mean, we kind of talked about the 9 rounds that were played. 8 of them kind of came with the factor of that really kind of being in play. So, kind of looking on right now, I want to kind of take in mind when it comes into the CTF, slaying capability. What is really going to happen when it comes down to the CTF? Because, like I said, the overall slaying that was done in the Search and Destroy can be a little bit scary. But now for London Docks, right? Very quick, very kind of up close and personal gameplay. I really don't know how to call this. I'm definitely favoring GGEA Blue for the most part. But the SMGs, right, they can be very scary. I love Unicorns. Well, that was a Search and Destroy. It was almost like a quick TDM when you kind of look at the overall kind of landscape of how the entire thing was outlined. So very interested to see how London Docks obviously does play out. It should be an interesting one to watch. And like I said, with the guys on I Love Unicorns finding themselves in another respawn, how do they perform? Of course, there's a lot of different kind of storylines coming into a matchup like this. As I believe London Docks should be loading up. I think we're having a little bit of an error potentially getting into the game, but still, feel free, if you guys haven't done so already, feel free to obviously put your predictions down in the chat below as far as what you guys think is going to happen when it comes down to this final map. Because, of course, the loser of this game, unfortunately, will be sent home packing. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to continued coverage here for the $300 minimum 4v4 event, of course, taking place here on February 15th. It's myself, Lando Sanders, live here from the UMG studio. Of course, hopping in toward our Map 3, our quarterfinal matchup between GGEA Blue and I Love Unicorns, as the entire series is kind of going the way that I personally, from an outside perspective, would have predicted. The GGEA Blue kind of group, the team, winning the respawns, kind of taking the heart point. And I Love Unicorns, of course, a group who's very well known for their Search and Destroy game. Of course, all 4 players take the S&D in a pretty dominant fashion. Not as dominant as the hard point was taken for GGEA Blue. We ended up seeing a only 103 seconds grabbed from the guys on I Love Unicorns. Literally, I think it was Johnny who went on a 15 kill spree, and a number of different streaks that were utilized. I want to say it was probably like 56, I think, overall score streaks that were used from the guys on GGEA Blue. So when it comes into respawns, right now, if you're I Love Unicorns, you don't have the best taste in your mouth when it kind of comes down to this. But actually, I want to take a look really quickly. Go to player number 6 if we could. Look at GodMunks' overall perspective. He is just kind of playing spoiler right now. Thankfully for him, though, the flag does get dropped in bottom. But along with that, the kills come in quick succession, ends up dying just outside of Coal Room. And it looks like as a number of kind of very close engagements start to take place, a lot of different scenarios started to build up in our minds, but it looks like both flags will return off the start. But that aggression being shown from either side goes to show that this should be a very nice and healthy map number 3. As if we know anything about London Docks, kills in quick succession are the name of the game. Overall position is important. Communication has to be on point. But it's just really about kind of utilizing streaks if you can earn them. But really, if you get 3 down, grab the flag, get around a corner, and get some help. Because that's really all you have to do. So when you're taking a look at that, if you notice in the top right of your kind of screen of the overall kind of motion for me, once you see kind of like 3 skulls pop up, that's normally when a flag is going to be picked up, if not when a flag is going to be scored. So once those kills start to come in quick succession, that's when we see success. And body stacking right now are the guys on I Love Unicorns. Stamino will quickly grab those 2, but it looks like it was Johnny who was trying to defend the flag carrier. But despite that going down, it looks like it was, I believe, SupremeAgility who does get that one home in the end. So massive props to the boys on GGEA Blue for getting that one forward. One player tried to play spoiler, but just was not good enough. But the overall consistent slaying, at least after the first half of this first side, definitely favoring the boys on GGEA Blue. We start to talk about sprees. It looks like Stamino, after going 0-4, actually went on a 5 spree. So nice to see him kind of turning things around. As it looks like Johnny finding a few quick kills in the base. And I just let you guys kind of know right now, I'm being told by production, we're having a little bit of an issue kind of swapping on board with different players. I'm not sure if that's a recent Codcaster glitch or just something that we're currently experiencing, but it looks like we're having a hard time kind of swapping to different players. So if you guys do notice a little bit of issues coming with Codcaster and whatnot, we do apologize. That is on our end, we believe. And we'll obviously be kind of giving you guys updates regarding that. But everything should be good to go. Just may not be able to go on with exactly what player we want to. But, of course, action still coming forward. So with that in mind, though, minute and 30 remaining in this first half. Johnny and Stamino clearing out the base, which is very important when it comes into London Docks. As small of a map as it plays, there can still be a lot of players who can kind of get in sneaky little line sides. Got to make sure that your base is clear. And it looks like as the kills start to come forward, Envader should be able to put this one forward, making his way through barrel building. Just like that, the nice little excess dolphin dive along with the melee will now secure a 2-0 advantage. But take a look at this. imBxdied making his way through cold room. But really, there's no one to kind of follow up on it. And that's the issue that we're seeing right now with I Love Unicorns, is it looks like another flag could be brought out here from Johnny. It looks like it will. All 4 players kind of lingering through middle right now. There is no one to contest this. No streaks have been earned. And just like that, 3-0 lead for the guys on GGEA Blue. Off the start, it was I Love Unicorns who had some good aggression. They were definitely kind of playing everything correctly, but the kind of major difference that we saw and what we're seeing right now is just the overall experience. I mean, right now, if you're I Love Unicorns, you should be clearing out your base with 55 seconds left to go. You shouldn't be trying to kind of get out a flag. You should, for the most part, just kind of cut your losses and focus on the next round, not try to respond with one back. But it looks like they're spawning water side. They are spawning water side right now, and they're still watching their backside. Fantastic plays right now coming in from GGEA Blue, literally sacrificing their lives to keep that flag alive. However, though, DillyDilly is back here. He's 11-7, and he's definitely the guy who stood the most of a chance, and Johnny is just letting him know. Full streaks earned. This man is on a 7 spree, 12 streak, 13 streak now. What is going on? What is going on right now? Oh my goodness, Envader letting them know. I don't know how quickly that, and actually, if he's able to get on that flag, I think there was like maybe a half a second difference there. If that flag goes in, due to the kind of overtime rules that add an extra minute, if someone has the flag, there's an extra minute. So once that flag goes forward, there was a potential for them to get even another flag on top of the one that they had just scored before the kind of round timer expired there. So if you're I Love Unicorns, it looks like someone's actually already left. That's unfortunate. That's not gonna lie, I'm not happy with that. I'm not impressed with that. Who was that? Intechs, I think. I'm not sure if he lagged down or if he's just really depressed about his gameplay. Not sure. But despite that, though, 3 go down. And like I said, I'm gonna kind of point out a few different things. Right, when it comes down to a series like this, when you're getting, I want to say like demolished, but when you're kind of learning and I want to say learning really, but when you're kind of in a situation like this, you're not having a whole lot of success. This is where you learn, right? This is where you kind of learn the issues that you're having. Okay, what kind of went wrong in the CTF? Well, first of all, we didn't rotate correctly. We weren't watching our back. I mean, a lot of the times in the CTF, what we've seen so far from the guys in I Love Unicorns is the factor of them kind of re-challenging. I mean, along with a few other issues. I mean, the main issue for them has been challenging things that really weren't necessary, kind of off-spawn, not clearing out their base, because every time for GGEA Blue, they were kind of aware of what the enemy was doing, and they were kind of playing to the point of facing off against an amateur team, because whenever they kind of leave someone in the base after already grabbing the flag, they're trying to go for relays. They know that this team isn't always going to kind of be on board with that. So you got to give props, of course, to the guys on GGEA Blue for playing this one standard. It's not a surprise that we see them take the respawns, but it is kind of surprising that we see them take respawns in this dominant of a fashion, as SupremeAgility literally wasting the entirety of those flames onto just DillyDilly and solely there. But still, though, like I said, if you're in I Love Unicorns position, right, I mean, while this is an unfortunate loss, I know it's in front of stream, I know it's in front of viewers and whatnot, take this as learning time. And it's rather unfortunate they have a teammate leave the game. But still, though, like, this is your opportunity to learn. This is your opportunity to get better at respawn. This is why you don't want stuff like this to happen. It's through matches like this to learn. And so it's kind of rather unfortunate that players don't want to. And like I said, that's rather unfortunate, as it looks like GodMunks has resulted to actually pulling out a shotgun here. So that's pretty interesting. Of course, currently 6 and 14. Maybe different weapon could produce different strats. I'm not. Wait, are shotguns legal? Can I get word? I don't even think shotguns are legal. I'm not sure if that even matters, but still, rather unfortunate play. So, with that, I believe, I think honestly at this point, nothing's really going to change. So I think what we're going to do is just kind of call this one done for. I don't think that we're really going to kind of broadcast any more of this match, just because it, not that it isn't worth it by any means, but it's just an overall kind of blood beating. It's just I'm actually watching someone actually be on fire while getting shot. I'm really glad that the viewers didn't see that, because if you have anyone under the age of 18, I highly suggest that they weren't watching that. So my eyes are currently scarred for a long time. Thankfully, your guys' aren't. Still, though, when it kind of comes down to the series in general, and really kind of the entirety of the series has been, I Love Unicorns. We know what they're good at. We know they're good at search and destroy, but it's a matter of them testing their wits when it comes to the respawns. We've seen guys like the EU cadets. We've seen I've seen a lot of players throughout this year, and we could even discuss the factor of a lot of guys kind of recently in the pro scene. What they've really done is taken their search and destroy game and trying to bring it now into respawn, and that's something that's a very difficult thing to do. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of progression. That's what a lot of groups have been trying to do for the last few years. I mean, take a look at just one team in particular, Lethal Gaming. I've been very impressed with those guys. All 4 of those players on that team, Major Maniac, Teddy Rex, I mean, all those guys and whatnot, they have been solely search and destroy players for the longest time. But not too long ago, they started to get in the respawn game at one of the most recent tournaments. They ended up finishing like top 32 or like something like that in the open bracket. Like, it's not the greatest or the quickest of growth that you'd probably like to see, but it's growth nonetheless. They're trying to get better at respawn. They're trying to get better at the overall competitive game mode, which I'm personally a major fan of. Well, it's not fun to see losses like this. It's not fun to obviously cast over losses like this. It's still interesting, right? It's still interesting to see what these search and destroy guys are trying to take from games like this. And like I said, I'm just never a fan of whenever a person or guys leave the game early, because there's still, like, this is where you learn. This is where you realize what went wrong. What did we do to kind of learn from this? What, kind of went bad for us throughout this entire game, and how can we improve on it is really the overall kind of mentality when it comes down to a match like this. And like I said, GGEA Blue do move forward. I'm not sure exactly who has kind of taken the victory over Big Beams and No Space, but I believe we can actually take a look at the bracket to kind of get you guys an overall kind of idea as to what's happening for tonight, as it looks like Enigma 6 and Uprise, I believe is the name, currently firing just above them, as when you see how that series will obviously line out. And looks like below us, though, like I said, as GGEA Blue will move forward here in this current series. They're a matchup still awaiting who will obviously be meeting them up, whether it be Big Beams or the team known as No Space. But, guys, that's going to kind of do it for this overall quarterfinal matchup. Of course, pretty interesting one, to say the least. Got to give kind of overall GGs to both sides, despite, of course, dominant victories in the respawns. As I believe Johnny and his teammates are now actually 1v1 sniping each other. So that's pretty cool. Guys, we're going to take a commercial break.
Everything is new to me, sleepless in a distant dream, slowing up the speed of time. Don't let me crash down tonight. I just wanna feel what I feel